As you're out looking for apartments, you're busy looking at how beautiful the grounds are. You're looking at the finishes inside the apartment the property manager shows you. You're fantasizing about how refreshing a dip in the swimming pool will be. And it's true that these are all elements that will impact your rental experience at this particular property. But there is an unseen force that will impact your experience much more than any of these other elements combined. And that's the quality of the property manager and the management policies that you'll have to live with once you sign your lease. What are some of the best practices for property management? How would you know if these best practices are actually being used at this particular property? We're talking about spotting poor property managers before you even sign the lease. This is Renter Confidential. Property managers are responsible for the proper stewardship of the rental properties that are placed in their care. Regardless of whether these properties are single-family rental homes or large apartment complexes, there are industry best practices that should be used to ensure that the property's residents have the best rental experience possible. Sadly, there is a huge amount of variation in property management policies and procedures across the industry. The first and most useful best practice for property managers is to maintain the curb appeal of their properties. Poor curb appeal is the first indication that the property managers may not be following industry best practices. Overgrown landscaping may be an indication that the property manager isn't paying attention to this property. Next, check the property for any damaged fencing or gates. If these aren't being repaired as soon as possible, it may be an indication of an extremely lax attitude towards maintenance. The next industry best practice is to respond to any maintenance requests within 24 hours. Now, to be clear, respond does not mean to have the maintenance request resolved, although that would be nice. Respond means that the manager acknowledges that they have seen your request and has begun formulating a solution to the issue presented. For example, they could respond with a simple text message, or they could ask you for the best time when maintenance can stop by to assess the issue. So when touring apartments, ask the property manager what their policy is for handling maintenance requests. But don't just take their word for it. You can also ask one of the residents who lives there what their experiences with maintenance have been. Knowing this information is helpful in deciding where you choose to live because responsiveness to maintenance requests is part of the value that you'll be paying for each and every month. Once the problem has been assessed, either the property manager or their maintenance personnel should provide you with a timeline regarding when repairs will be made. Bear in mind this timeline may be longer if parts need to be ordered. Lastly, their procedure should include follow-up communication so the property manager can ensure that the resident was happy with the repair work. Having this as part of their procedures shows you two very important things as a potential renter. First, that they actually care whether you were happy with the repair implies that their goal is to make satisfactory repairs on their first attempt. Second, it can also indicate a desire to improve their maintenance staff and use any reported dissatisfaction for further training. If you're looking at a larger apartment complex, it is currently industry practice for them to offer some type of online management portal, which, among other things, should allow you to place a maintenance request whenever your schedule permits, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. This way, the request is logged immediately, and you can indicate whether an issue is an emergency requiring immediate attention or not. At this point, we'll take a break for our sponsor, Rental Secrets, which teaches renters the power they have to save money on their rent. The link is in the show notes, And here's the trailer for this eye-opening book. America is in the grip of a housing crisis. There's evidence of it in nearly every city. 50% of U.S. households are having difficulty paying rent. And prices? Well, prices are on the rise. Frustration has set in for those trying to make ends meet, and searching for a new place can be a daunting task. It can seem overwhelming. People believe that landlords have all the power. After all, they have what you need. But it isn't true. Yes, you heard correctly. It is not true. You have more power than you think. Inside the new book, Rental Secrets, you'll learn how to reduce your rent. Just imagine having a lower rent payment. Get better value for your money. Paying rent is a struggle. Shouldn't you get more out of each payment? How to negotiate with the right people. Who has the real power to negotiate? Take control of rent renewal conversations. After all, it's your money. And even how to get free rent. Yes, it is absolutely true. Free rent is real, and you can get it. All this and so much more is in Rental Secrets. Get your copy today at Amazon.com. And we're back. Another very important topic to ask about is whether the property manager has standard office hours. Specifically, what days and times will the property manager either be on site or available via telephone for calls from residents? In addition, do all their office hours occur during the standard work week, Monday through Friday, from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m.? Or do they recognize that their residents are busy working during those hours and have some availability on the weekend or after hours? Having specific office hours makes it easy for residents to know when the property manager will be available. This is especially valuable for any residents who prefer meeting face-to-face or have not received a response via other forms of communication. In addition, residents should also have multiple forms of communication available to reach their property manager, at least telephone and email. In short, not having office hours is simply poor customer service. It's not quite as bad as a certain cable company keeping someone on hold for 3 hours and then closing the customer service office while they were on hold. And yes, this certainly did happen. The link to the YouTube video about it is in the show notes below. But, of course, none of that matters if the property manager doesn't respond in a timely manner, as one renter from Athens, Alabama learned the hard way. One Saturday, the overhead lighting in her kitchen had gone out, so she called and left a message with the property manager. She didn't receive a response, so she called again on Monday. And to make matters worse, the property manager doesn't have office hours, so she and her fellow residents are left to wonder when their property manager will be available. Eventually, she just resorted to flagging down the maintenance supervisor when she saw him on site. This is exactly an example of how the process of contacting your property manager should not work. Yes, flagging the maintenance manager down does ensure that someone from the property management company actually knows about your issue, but it also distracted him from whatever problem or issue he was already there to address. Another best industry practice is to notify all residents involved when management takes action within the community or resolves any situation between residents. In that very same apartment complex in Athens, Alabama, one resident was out walking her dog. She was approached by another resident who expressed her displeasure that the dog was relieving itself on the grass in front of her apartment in a less than professional manner. The argument got heated, and the dog owner chose to back out of the situation and inform the property manager. The property manager sent a letter to the offending resident stating that there was no official policy as to where pets must be walked, and that how she'd handled her concern had disturbed the quiet enjoyment of the community. The response was perfectly fine, except the property manager never told the dog owner, who found out later when the offending resident apologized half-heartedly. But the manager should have notified both of them of how management resolved the issue. For example, when there are upcoming renovations or community events, managers should notify residents well in advance through various channels like email, text messages, and even posted notices within the community. Additionally, when addressing issues or concerns within the community, holding regular resident meetings or town halls can foster an open and collaborative environment. This provides an opportunity for residents to voice their concerns, ask questions, and feel like they are part of the decision-making process. By involving residents, property managers build a stronger sense of community and trust. So, here's the takeaway. As you're visiting different apartment complexes, focus on the curb appeal when you drive up. Be sure to ask them about their management policies. How do they handle maintenance requests? Do they have a software system for submitting those requests? How do they communicate with residents? And do they have actual office hours for residents? The answers to these questions will tell you a great deal about whether you'll get value for your apartment dollar or not. Thanks for watching Renter Confidential. Happy apartment hunting. When it comes to renting, insider information is the best roommate you can ever have. Subscribing to Renter Confidential is the best way to keep the industry insider tips coming. If you're listening to the podcast, you'll also find the show's videos on YouTube and Rumble. You can also follow me for daily tips on social media. You'll find me at Rental Secrets on Facebook and Instagram. While on Twitter, my handle is Rental Secret. And on LinkedIn, I'm Justin Pogue. You can find us online at rentalsecrets.net with free gifts, guest interviews of me on other podcasts, and much more. Thanks for listening.